All right, I'm trying to check.
It says recording on my end.
Yeah, we are recording. I'm trying to figure out what's
How to
going
go
on as
live.
far as the different platforms. Uh, Hang on, I'm going to try refreshing something here real quick.
Yeah. We are 1 minute out. Damn, that's a good looking cat right there. Boy, I hope we're live. Woo! You sexy mother blanker. Do I look as sexy on your end as I do on my end?
You do. You do. Okay, I think we are on Facebook at least. I can see.
I think.
All right, so
yeah.
are you set? All right. I was trying to make sure that all the streams were joining at this point. Although I don't see.
I think
anything on
YouTube is YouTube's probably the best one.
I don't understand why we're not.
Let me freshen up my drink. We've been talking a while already.
Let me just check the settings here real quick on YouTube. Okay, I guess I didn't even realize. So we are up on YouTube there. It looks like we're up on Facebook. I don't know if we're up on Rumble or X at this point, but let's get it started. Everybody, Tentacle Nation here. If you're not familiar, oh, now I have echo. This is Chief with us on the infamous X-Chief. And Chief Miller, how are you this evening?
Scott, I'm great. Thanks for inviting me on the podcast, my friend.
Absolutely. It's ironic because I received multiple messages from parties as soon as the news broke about you or however you want to say it. So I was eager to get you back on. Obviously, you're not a stranger to the platform, so thanks for coming back.
No, thanks for having me back. You've done such good things, man. You've blown up pretty big yourself, my friend. I never expected you to have me back on. You're pretty big out there, man. You're doing a lot of good things.
Well, thank you. So I didn't even know. So, I mean, some of the questions that have been asked of me, and I legit don't know. I don't know why we never even really discussed it. I thought we would start with, how did you get to Apple Creek?
All right. Hold on a second here. I'm sorry. What was that question, brother?
We've I don't know how many times we've been in discussion. We've never gotten around to it. How did you actually get to Apple Creek? Did you see it on Backpage, or I mean, what?
I think it was Indeed. And exactly about a year and a half ago on Indeed, I answered an ad that they were looking for a chief. And honestly, the truth is, I was like, Wayne County, Worcester. I had worked in Creston many years ago, very, very little bit, very part-time. But I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I got this master's degree. I've been a deputy chief. So I figured that, I put my hat in the ring. I didn't expect that I would get the call back, but I did.
So do you know, I mean, I don't even honestly know. Somebody's commenting. I'm sorry. Okay, comments are working. Thank you. Somebody said they love your hat, buddy. So the, was it a previous chief was retiring, or do you know what was going on? I don't even honestly know.
No, I think he got a job at the county. A better, I guess, a more active job, a better job. He was interim. He was an interim chief. So,
did he come from Apple Creek or?
He was at Apple Creek. Yeah, he was definitely at Apple Creek, but I'm not sure where he worked prior. I think might have been his first gig, but I don't know. Good guy, nice guy.
And I'm somewhat familiar with the area, and I actually meant to pull up a map so that I could share it in case the audience is not familiar. Well, explain where is Apple Creek?
Yeah, it's in Wayne County, man. And whenever people ask me, like, yeah, I don't know, I just tell them Worcester. It's right next to Worcester, and people do recognize that name. Amish country.
Okay, and I think you actually had a couple of incidents, but I mean, we'll get into that. I do remember seeing some Facebook posts relative to some Amish stuff, but we'll talk about
sure.
That. But and I am somewhat familiar. I actually too, and I didn't honestly know. I too used to work in Creston for a while, West Salem, which are both in Wayne County. So I'm very familiar with although I mean it's probably been 20, 30 years at this point. I'm sure many things have changed in Wayne County, but so I mean, let's talk about, because I followed you on Facebook as far as the Apple Creek Facebook page. And I mean, it looked like you're doing some really great things for the community. I mean, you were doing even like, and I know you took some heat. I think the last time when we actually spoke, you were taking some heat about, you were even doing a program offering taxi rides to people on New Year's Eve. And but tell us about what accomplishments you had out there while you were there.
So, your whole career, when you're a patrolman or when you're doing any other job in the police world, you have aspirations to maybe go farther on. But, when you're a road guy, you complain about, if I was ever the chief, this is what I'm going to do. So I had a whole bunch of those saved up, Scott, a whole bunch of, when I become chief, this is the shit I'm going to do. I'm going to do it my way. And those who know me know I do pretty much everything my way, even at the behest of what people might think that I should do. Just side note, I just think a lot of people are looking for the administrator that wears the polo shirt, checks all the boxes, a guy who drinks the Kool-Aid. That's what most people are looking for. But yeah, as a road guy and my career of working in the police world, I had a lot of things I said, man, if I'm ever the boss, this is what I'm going to do. And on a small scale, I got to do everything I wanted to do there in Apple Creek for a year and a half. It was really, it was a blessing to get that job.
And I mean, you were doing Shop with the Cop. I saw that. I mean, that looked like quite. Was that something that had been done previously? Or
yeah. Worcester, Wayne County has their own way of doing things. They did a Shop with the Cop. Worcester's big involved in that. The county did it. I kind of did my own thing too. The truth is, the first Shop with the Cop, I didn't hear anything about it. I didn't know anything about what Wayne County did. So I started my own. Then like a week later, somebody calls me like, dude, why are you doing your own? We do one as a county. So then it made me look like an idiot that I'm doing my own thing, but it wasn't on purpose. I was just trying to do Shop with a Cop. You know what I mean?
So we have a question for you. What flavored juice are you drinking?
I'll tell you, I didn't spend too much money. I'm Four Roses bourbon today.
All right.
I like these questions already.
So we're going to get into let's talk about the big question. The question, and it's ironic because again I can't tell you the amount of messages I received. Well, what happened? Why did he leave? And I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to tune in at 5:00 on Saturday to find out. So is it something you're comfortable talking about here?
Yeah, man, I'm going to tell the truth, man. It just is what it is. It is what it is, and until it's not, But so what happened? I felt like I was doing a pretty good job. I felt like I was doing everything. I want to say this though, I had very good support from my mayor. The mayor and I, because he was there nearly every day, very good support. 99% of the crazy ideas I wanted, the mayor was like, "Let's do it." And going back even a little further, when he hired me, he said, I don't want people who do it the Wayne County way. He said, this place does its own thing. I want somebody different. And I said, I think you got the right guy. So just to put that out there, my mayor was very supportive. 99% of everything I wanted, he did. Okay. The problem was on council is where the issue came for me. And they pretty much left me alone my first year. I saved a lot of money. I instituted a lot of programs. What I think, Scott, is I think that they were used to chiefs walking into the meeting going, I need $50,000 for body cams. I need $40,000 for tasers. We need 3 new cars. And I just think you didn't build a rapport by walking in, throwing those big numbers out. What I did was come in and say, hey, I've got donated cameras, I've got donated tasers, but I need XYZ. And I was able to communicate with a sense of budgetary consciousness. You know what I mean? So that's where the problem came. The problem came in with council.
So I mean, it was just like it was a struggle for you as far as like the budgetary. Or, I mean, were they attacking you directly, or
it's personal? Listen. If you ask me, I'm pretty sure it's personal. Remember, I started the show off with tattoos, and I come from Cuyahoga County, and if you have the East Cleveland name on you, you got a little stink on you. So I think I came in from the outskirts. I come the culture difference that I do, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The culture that I come from, I tried to mix into Wayne County, and I'm just not exactly sure. And I'm still figuring it out. Yesterday was my last day. I'm still trying to figure out how it all fell apart.
So you were talking about culture, and this is something that we had discussed like prior to the going live, and then we actually discussed when it was happening to you, and you brought it out. Let's see the we'll see the 10, man. There you go. Let's talk about that. That
okay.
That was early on, right? That was pretty much.
No, it's I think it's last August or so.
Okay.
It was for this funeral here. I put everybody's name up. You see that? Phil Wagner, Lorain County. So I put everybody's name up here behind my bar. Officers that have been killed in the line of duty. Jake Durbin, I taught in the academy from Euclid. I write all their names, all the officers that have been killed in the line of duty. I have a little bar here, and I kind of have a memoriam. I guess it may sound a little cliche, but I care about the officers, and I taught a lot of them, and this stuff touches me pretty deep when somebody dies. So the flask, is that what you're asking me about? What happened with the flask?
Yes.
So we call it Flask Gate. We call it Flask Gate in my department, right? So here's what happened. I had told my team, hey, we're going to take a couple police cars. We have 3. We have 4 now, but we have 3 in general. And we're going to take a couple police cars, and we're going to represent Apple Creek, and we're going to go go to this funeral. One, I wanted to do it for a leadership value of don't get complacent. This is what could happen to you. And 2, to show our respects, especially since I work pretty close to Lorain too in my other job. So that was the plan. I talked to my wife, and I said, hey, we're going to make breakfast for my team. The funeral was downtown at the hell, it's not Gundurine anymore, whatever that place is downtown where the Cavs play. I told my wife, I said, hey, we're going to bring some of the team from Apple Creek to my house. We'll have breakfast. We'll get suited and booted, and then we'll drive down to the funeral. And that's what we did. The night before, one of the chiefs in Wayne County had called me and said, hey, do you want a carpool? And I said, hey, I'll do you one better. Why don't you just come to my house with your team? I'm cooking breakfast for my team. Here's my address. Show up here, and we'll feed everybody. Me and Shannon got extra food, and he ended up bringing 2 other chiefs and maybe 3 or 4 other officers, and they all showed up in my driveway. It was really good. And I fed everybody breakfast, and then we got suited and booted, and we took 4 or 5 cars. We carpooled all the way downtown. Then we parked in a police-only parking area, and we parked there. We were getting our jackets together. I had my flask, and so did other people, but I'm the one who I guess got caught with it. So one of those people, I don't know exactly who it was yet. I have a really good idea, but one of those chiefs and one of those, and mainly it was the chiefs that were behind me. There was 2 chiefs, snapped that photo of me walking. I don't know if you have it. Maybe you can put it up in the later on, but snapped a picture of me holding my flask and sent it anonymously to my council, to my other job and was calling for my firing and resignation, and he's terrible and what have you.
Well, and let me back up because I think you're doing, and maybe I missed it, but because and I apologize, I've been checking the, making sure all the platforms are going. But you weren't driving, correct?
No, I was not driving.
And you were not actually on duty, correct? You were. This was actually
was
off duty
not
for
on
you.
duty, sir. Not on duty. They
Okay.
checked all that.
Okay. And then it actually not only ended up with council and your mayor, it actually ended up on by anonymous post on a couple of Wayne County Facebook group posts, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, Scott, anonymous posts and anonymous, put your name on something. You know, people, I'm a lightning rod for whatever it is, but put your name on it. Put your name on it, man. Stab me in the chest instead of stabbing me in the back. This is the reason why I don't wear anything thin blue line. You'll be stabbed by another cop before you will a perp any day of the week. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So somebody sent a long letter. How terrible, what a terrible person I am for, whatever. We want him fired. And this was anonymous. And they also sent it to my other chief in Vermilion. And he sent me a message and said, it ain't got nothing to do with me. We love you, Doug. Keep your head up. And so all the damage that these backstabbers tried to do didn't work. So, I think they were trying to run me out, Scott. They're trying to run me out. Who is this guy?
So this is actually a question that came in, and I don't know if you want to answer it or not, but they're asking, can you or will you say what other departments went with you? All right. Well, you think about that. That was a.
You know what? You know what? They should own what they have to own. I invited 3 departments, right? So Creston went with me, the chief of Creston. Smithville, that chief went, and some of his people. And the other one, I forgot the name. West Salem? No. I forgot. There's one other one, too.
Marshallville, buddy.
Marshallville. That's the one, brother. So those are the 3 that I invited the Smithville chief, and he said, hey, I got a couple other guys. I said, no problem. Bring them. And I fed all those people, Scott. I want everybody to look at me. I fed those people, fed them all. And then somebody had the nerve to snap a photo of me carrying this and tried to ruin me. That is the lowest thing that's ever happened to me in this police world. That is the lowest thing that's ever happened.
And it, just like you described, cops are the worst. And it's funny, and you may know it now or may know it better. I mean, that was something that was actually, I took verbal judo twice, believe it or not. I took it once just as a normal student, and then they had like a expanded version that I actually, and I can't remember the gentleman's name now. He's actually passed on, I think. But
he's great.
I took it
He's
from
got
him
YouTube
directly.
videos. He's got those 70s YouTube videos out there. I love watching them. He's amazing, yeah.
But he always had this thing where he basically stated, hey, after a couple of years, the people that screw cops are other cops. I mean, that's just the way it is. Well, and you're going to hate other cops. Here's
how it is, man. So it works both ways in rural communities, suburbs, and in big cities. When officers that get promoted don't have the opportunity to fuck with the public, they fuck with other cops. Okay. So, and that's what starts happening. And then when you're bored and you don't have a lot of calls, these little tiny places, they fuck with cops because they have nothing else to do. And to keep themselves busy and to keep themselves paid, they want to find ways to write you up or ways to attack you or ways to belittle you or ways to, help pepper your file by writing you up for something stupid. So when cops get bored and they can't fuck with the public, they turn it internally. And I've seen that time and time again. Haven't you seen that before as well?
Oh, absolutely. And you're 100% right. I mean, and it generally is the same cops that do it. It's the same cops that are looking to jam other cops up. I mean, that's just, and I'm not saying that if, I'm sorry, my settings are, I'm trying to share my screen is what I'm trying to do here, but it generally is the same cops that do not like other cops doing jobs. I mean, I was actually discussing with Rob Rosen, who's Emmy-winning producer. He was on my show last week, and we got into this, into the discussion about, their cops essentially are their own worst enemy. I mean, that's just plain and simple.
Sure. Well, I think a lot of times experience has to do with that too. If you come from a busy place, a department with lots of calls waiting, and you got stuff going on, you understand the vibe of policing. But if you're stuck in one place for a long time, you need a change of scenery. Your brain starts changing, and so I just think that's one of the biggest things that cops tend to do, especially when it comes to when they get some rank and some leadership. They think now it's time to let me fix this and that and that. And usually, leave police officers alone. We're going to get the job done. Nobody likes to be micromanaged. Nobody likes to be. I'll tell you, Scott, I got written up. This is a long time ago, and I'm not going to tell you the department, okay? But a long time ago, I got written up for having toothpicks in my cup holder in the police car. They were brand new. They were brand new toothpicks. The chief told me that they were unsanitary. I said, but they're brand new. I just, boop, throw it out the window. Got written up. I had my sunglasses on my hat one time, and that was part of policy. You weren't allowed to have that. So I got a write-up for having my, and I was just coming out of the military, and 11 years active duty, and I was just coming out of the military, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is worse than the military. What am I getting myself into, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
And it probably was. I don't want you to answer, but I mean, it sounds like something that East Cleveland honestly would do. East Cleveland supervision, but it was very interesting to me that I don't think I actually had any.
That's right. Give me a close up when I'm smashing this bourbon. See my team back there? I don't know if anybody can even see it.
Sorry, I think I lost you there.
No, that's all right. I'm not sure if I was still going or not.
No, I can't. I don't think I received very many write-ups like when I was on patrol, and I went up to the detective bureau, and there was a guy named Commander Mikovich, and I love Mikovich. We called him Mick. I don't know if that was before your time or not. Did you know?
It was.
Okay, so I wrote in the evidence. We had like these old school log books for evidence logging.
The green ones.
Yes. And I wrote, I think I wrote the incorrect page number or something in the log book. And it was pretty interesting because I'm sitting over there in my, at my computer, I'm typing a report. I had just interviewed somebody, I was processing them, and I'm back at my computer, I'm typing, and I literally get up to use the restroom. And I come back, and there's a write-up in my chair. Now, mind you, Commander Mikovich's desk, it was sort of like I can't remember what that old school show, that detective show, that like all the detective chairs were like in this flat bullpen. I mean, you could see everybody up there. So like Detective Mikovich is like literally this way. I can see where he's sitting, right? So yeah. I come back to my chair, and I've got this write-up in my chair, and I'm like, what is this? So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, Commander, can we talk about this? Sign it. Like, okay.
Those are the days, though. But Scott, those are the days where cops nowadays are a little bit spoiled. They think they can complain. They think they can. You just signed it back then. Now they'll cry their way to the union, which is not a bad thing all the time. I'll get into that later. But they will cry their way to the union big time. Nowadays, you can't do nothing to a cop nowadays. A bunch of crybabies. No offense, I love you all. Stop crying though.
But here's the thing, and here's the moral of my story. And somebody actually asked me, somebody apparently knows Mikovich, asked the question, did he ever actually talk? And no, he generally didn't. He would literally come in, he would not even say good morning in the morning, and he wouldn't even say goodbye. But I was like very obtuse with him. I made certain every morning, hey, Commander, how you doing? And, oh, hey, you living, Commander? Good day. He used to hate me. But I received more write-ups in the Detective Bureau than I did I think I was on patrol for 6 or 7 years at that point. And I received more write-ups in the Bureau in my first 6 months than I ever did on patrol. But I'm going to tell you, I never misput a page number on the evidence log throughout my entire rest of my career in the detective bureau. So I guess it worked, the write-up.
Yeah, I just, I think cops, we already have a hard enough job as it is. The micromanagement is a rough thing. We train you. We give you, 800 hours at the police academy. We put you in a cruiser with an FTO for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then we put you on your own with an $80,000 car full of gear and all this training. And then we expect you to make critical decisions and do all these things. So I really think that going hard on cops at the station, even if you're not a busy department, man, we still doing DOAs. You're still doing crashes with people mangled. And I just think cops need grace, Scott. Cops need grace now more than ever. The public won't give us any grace. We're not getting a lot of grace from people. And here's why. Can I tell you my theory?
Sure.
So when I watch a doctor show, say you watch ER or whatever these doctor shows are, sitcoms or whatever, these drama doctor shows. You watch a doctor show, Scott. Have you ever watched a doctor show and got done and were like, you know what? I think I can do an appendectomy. I think I can take somebody's appendix out. No, you've never said that. But when civilians watch a cop show, okay, they watch a cop show, they go, yeah, I think I could do that job. That's easy. That's no problem. So it's different. People have a big opinion. For some reason, look at that sexy guy. For some reason, civilians have a big opinion on what we do. And they do. We do work for the public, but they've been given too much of a platform to critique and kill us off. And because they don't know what we do. So that's my idea. You watch a surgery show or a doctor show, people understand that this is a show. But then you watch a cop show and they think they have some leverage and some understanding of this business, and really, they don't.
And honestly, I remember going through trial. That was almost like a standard opening statement for prosecutors, especially, most of my trials were for homicides when I was in the homicide, doing homicides. But it was almost a standard opening. Hey, you can't, if you're a fan of CSI, if you're a fan of Law and Order, throw all of that out the window because crime isn't solved in a half hour. Because it was always a half hour of investigation on Law and Order, and then a half hour of the trial.
Listen, the autopsy's done in 15 minutes. DNA is already back. We got this whole thing done, and it's not realistic.
Why? So let's first ask. I've got it up here. Your Apple Creek. So who's going to be running the Facebook page now at this point? Do you know?
Yeah, man. So we got a good guy that's been a police officer for a while. His name's Dustin. He's going to be interim, taking over. Now, let me tell you this. I left yesterday. I've been crying all week, and I'm not afraid to say it, man, because, I'm an emotional cat. I love my people. They helped me make that place really good. And back to it. You know how many write-ups my people got? Ask me. How many write-ups my people got in my department?
How many?
0. 0 write-ups. 0 write-ups. Because I believe a good conversation with adults can fix whatever issues we have. And my officers liked that. I think most officers like that. And they appreciated that type of leadership. Now, did I yell a little bit? Sure. Everybody there knows who I am and how I operate. But what they know, Scott, is that I care about them, I love them, and I want the best for them. So that's a for sure thing. At least I hope. At least that's what everybody tells me.
So Dustin he's not the interim chief though, right? Or he is?
He is sergeant, okay. And he's gonna hold the fort down. When I left, I tried to do everything like I said. I left because they didn't give me a raise, and we can get into that in a little bit, $1.80. But I didn't want to leave. I don't want the department to fall apart. I don't want the prosecutor's office or sheriff's office, who worked well with us. I don't want any bad blood. I want my officers still taken care of. They're still there, and I'm not there, but I still care about them. So I made the schedule for 2 months, make it easy. I kind of smoothed everything out on my way out. I told them, all of them, that if you got a problem, I don't work here anymore. But if you're stuck, you can call me anytime, and I'll do my best to help you get the right answer.
It was actually pretty excruciating to me when I was going through everything I was going through, because I still had commanders, captains, intern chiefs calling me after and asking what to do, and I'm like, dude, I'm not, at first I was a bit offended, but then I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to give them the advice that I would do, or what I would do in these situations. But
that's what you do. What are you going to do? Tell them no?
Yeah. I remember actually receiving a call from a sergeant, and apparently, I think the electric had gone off. Yeah, the electric had gone off.
That's because they didn't pay the bill. That's because East Cleveland didn't pay the bill.
Probably. But he was freaking out. He's like, hey, how do I get dispatch up? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I'm like, listen, Sarge, first calm down, take a breath. Okay, go. You have MDTs, right? They're probably already charged. Go grab an MDT out of a car, bring it in, sign it on, sign it in under the main ORI 1800. That's the terminal for everybody out there.
Cuyahoga County 18.
Every agency has an ORI originating. I don't even know what it stands for at this point, but
yeah.
I'm like, hey, sign it on as the original ORI. That way, all of the broadcasts come into that terminal. You're good there. You can still run things. And then I go, then just get a portable. You dispatch off the portable in the intern. I go, just make sure you contact, because I think the other issue was the 911 system had gone down.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to get on the phone. Bratnall is always very, very nice. Call Bratnall, say, hey, listen, I'm going to transfer all 911s to you. But again, I was a little hurt, offended, because I'm sitting there thinking, hey, this position I'm in, I'm still getting calls how to do things. But I agree, that's what you do. But so Dustin, you said, is that his name?
Yep.
He's do you think he's got a decent shot at maybe filling the role of chief? I mean, like actually the hard position?
I'm going to be honest. No, I don't think so. I think they're going to look for, I think he's a 3 or 4 year cop, but he works hard. He's motivated. He's a good guy, and he's the right guy. He knows when to call somebody. And that is the best thing you can get out of anybody. Like, you know what? This is over my head. Let me call somebody. And that's who you want running your department, because they know what they know and they know what they don't know. And they're not going to get, I don't want Apple Creek to get sued. I don't want anything bad to happen to my officers. I want that place to thrive. I hope the next chief hires a bunch of people. I hope that that place does well. I know a lot of people would have an axe to grind when they leave. That's just not who I am, Scott. I'm a lot of things, brother, and everybody, I'm pretty much an open book, and I'm criticized a lot, and it's been pretty painful, it's painful to be me, but it's what I choose. It's who I choose to be and who I am. So no, I think he's going to be great. He knows what he knows and knows what he doesn't know. And if he gets over his head, he'll make a call, and that's what you want running your department.
And I'm probably going to get the name wrong, and I'm going to actually feel really horrible, because I honestly would have.
Let me say it for you. Let me fix it for you, because they were so nice to me. Are you going to say the name of Dustin's last name?
Oh no, but go ahead.
Oh, it's Bodericher, but I didn't want you to beat it up, because I know his wife and him. It's Bodericher, yeah.
What heritage is that, buddy?
I don't know. We never got into that type of conversation.
All right. If Fodricher, you're listening, send us a comment. I'm eager to know what heritage that is. But who I was actually going to talk about was my chief of West Salem, and I believe his name was Terry Roberts, but I could be completely off and misplaced. But I attribute him being the best chief that I ever worked for some of the same reasons that you just spoke about. He didn't know anything. He actually was retired. He was a retired trooper, and I know that's a bad thing right there. But he was a retired OSP trooper. He knew he didn't know anything, or everything, I should say. He knew a lot, but he didn't know everything. And he had a guy. He had an officer. And I guess I shouldn't say specifically guy, but I mean, in that time, I think we were all guys at that point. But, he had a person that whatever his question was, okay, hey, this guy knows about DUI law. This guy knows about search and seizure law. This guy knows about, and he would... I honestly thought that was the best chief, because he recognized that he didn't know everything, and he basically made it certain that he had somebody that did. So I don't know. I might disagree with the Fodricker situation. He might be the best chief for the position. I don't know.
Maybe, you never know. He knows Wayne County. He lives in that area, so he might be. But yeah, no, I whoever it ends up being, if it is him, I'll support him as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're looking outwards. I don't know for a fact. Like I said, I'm not privy to that information, but I want, them to know and everybody to know that, I didn't just pack up my desk and leave out of there, take my ball and go home and was mad. No, it is what it is. If you can't give me a $1.80 raise, I must not be doing it for you. I must not be the right one, whatever it may be. But I think it was personal, Scott. This was more of a personal issue. I'm not the blue collar. I'm the blue collar cop, man. And I mean that with every sense of the word, and I hate polos, man. You never see me in a polo. I don't wear that stuff. And, my ideology is for policing. I told my officers, you don't have to wear a uniform. Don't wear a uniform. That was one of my rules. You don't have to wear a uniform. You got to wear a vest, got to have your gun, decent pants, good shoes, tennis shoes. I think officers should look like the public we serve. I really do. I think we're going to if our ultimate goal is compliance, right? Isn't that what we want as police officers? We want compliance. That's it. I want compliance. And if I can find ways to get there without a use of force, without getting us in trouble, I want people to look at me and look down and go, oh, those are Under Armour shoes. Oh, he is a human. He's talking to me and he's talking to me like a human being. You make yourself more human. Since the last 8 years or so, they've made us inhuman. And now they're killing ICE. So they're dehumanizing us. And this is what you do. If you dehumanize the police world, police officers, it makes it easier for people to act out against us. Look, if I say, Scott, hey, buddy, let's go kill a terrorist. You know what you would say? Fuck yeah, daddy. Grab your guns. Let's go. But if I say, hey, let's go kill a guy named, whatever his name is, you'd go, wait a minute. Because he's human, right? So if you make us and you minimize police to less than human, people feel like they can get away with fighting you, attacking you verbally or physically. So yeah, that's one of the things that one of my favorite rules is don't wear a uniform. You don't have to. Let's look like the public we serve. So that was one of the things I did bring to Apple Creek that I really liked.
And you did get grief from me. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember professionalism. I remember. But what I like about you is you're honest, right? I love it.
But I'm still the guy that gets really annoyed with cops even today wearing a baseball hat. That drives me insane. That was something in East Cleveland. If you recall, the previous chief allowed that, and I allowed it to continue, but it drove me insane and nuts. But I guess it's just me. Maybe my
I love you, buddy. But
I don't know.
I love you, buddy. But you old school guys, dude, that's the problem. You fuckers don't look at the new trends. You're in your own shit. You're like, you know what? Professionalism. Wear that fucking tie. Long sleeves till November 1st. Where's your tie at? What kind of patch is that? Get that off your uniform. That's old school. These new school cops, dude, they want to grow beards. They want to be on their phone. They want to do a whole lot of things differently. So I'm trying to move with the times,
Hey, I let the restriction of the beard come up, right? Before only detectives were allowed to have facial hair in East Cleveland, and I allowed that to come out. People could grow beards as long as they were maintained. So you got to give me credit at least a little bit.
No, you did, Scott. You did good, man. You're a better podcaster than Chief. I'll be honest with you.
You're probably right. That was a position I never wanted in my entire life. I would have been happy.
You know what you were the best at, Scott?
What's that?
You were the best. You were a great detective, dude. You're a great detective. You were a good chief, dude. I'm just busting your balls. But you're a really good podcaster.
Well, thank you. But yeah, had I not, that's probably the worst decision I ever made. But my thinking at that time was who was going to be chief, if not me at that point. And that's why I did it. But otherwise, I would have been happy and content to stay in the detective bureau the rest of my career. I don't know. There was the last homicide, and I don't know if I've ever actually really spoke about it, but one of the last major homicides I was on did affect me quite a bit. It was a girl that was actually around the same age of my daughter at that time, and it was her and her father that ended up in a car. I don't know if you were there.
I was there. The burn.
Yes. Yeah.
Lit it on fire.
And I thought, and nothing against Bedford. Bedford's a great police agency, but I thought, and again, that's why like the whole thing with East Cleveland totally came as a total shock and surprise to me, because the county prosecutor's office, we were trying to debate because the two parties were basically kidnapped from Bedford and driven to East Cleveland to meet their demise. And the county prosecutors were like on the phone with the chief of Bedford, me, in the homicide unit, and there were two major prosecutors on scene. I won't give their names because I don't want to give them in trouble, although I don't think they are, either one of them still work for the prosecutor's office. But they basically said, okay, who is going to lead this investigation? And without any hesitation, the prosecutor's like, no, East Cleveland's got to do this. East Cleveland is very well equipped to handle homicide investigations. East Cleveland's got to do it. And again, nothing against Bedford. Bedford, they assisted us and helped us quite a bit.
I got to tell you, the team there, I wasn't in the bureau at that time. Joe Marche, all those guys, all the guys who worked hard on that case, kudos to them. I remember that was an emotional case for everybody in the bureau. So kudos to those guys.
And so Alicia Pointer, but I think that was actually a subsequent. So I'm reading comments. I apologize.
Yeah.
I don't. Man, I feel like really bad now. I'm gonna have to do like real Joe Rogan style here and look things up here. East Cleveland.
You need a dude in the background. You need a dude in the background like Joe Rogan's like, hey, look that up.
Carbon to people. Paul Bradley.
Yeah,
and I feel horrible because I honestly did not think I would ever forget their names. Paul Bradley and Paris Bradley. Paris was 14 at the time, and I was in her room in Bedford, and the father had just brought home like Wendy's, and the Wendy's was like literally so fresh in the room, and I'm like looking around in her room and just like recognizing like very similarities to like my daughter's room, and it just really affected me really hard, and so that was sort of when I stepped back doing homicides at that point, was from that case.
Hey, I want you to come on my podcast, Scott.
Absolutely, man. And we're gonna get into that. Hang on, you're jumping way into the weeds, man. Hang on.
Dude, I love when I see the real Scott coming out, dude. I want you on my podcast.
So I left the next question open to you, and maybe you started already going into it, maybe a little bit, but what's your opinion in modern law enforcement? And I can't imagine anybody, and just so my audience understands, if you don't know Doug Miller, he is a cop's cop, pro cop. I don't want to say, I mean, you're very accountable though. I was going to say accountability might be your negative, but no, I think you're a very accountable person. It's just you have a completely different style of managing accountability. So, what's your opinion about modern law enforcement?
We're soft, baby. We got soft, Scott. We got soft, and I think it has a lot of facets to do with it. And when I say soft, I know that means it's probably going to frustrate a bunch of people. But I think everything offends us. I think we bitch too much. I think we've got salty cops. Scott, you weren't allowed to be salty until you were 5 years in East Cleveland and other, but you weren't even allowed to complain. Shut the fuck up. And then we got salty cops that are 6 months in. They're like complaining and bitching. And I'm like, how are you so salty this soon in your career? Shit. So modern policing, the first answer is, man, we're kind of soft.
I would say, and again, I'm not asking you to co-sign. You probably don't even know about the situation, but there was a situation in Manaway, Ohio. Chief Joe Urso, I didn't know him from Adam before this. Before I started covering his story, his case, his situation. In my opinion, he was wrongfully terminated. The village council presented zero to no evidence prompting why he should have been terminated. But there was this guy. I'm not even going to name him. I'm not trying to dox him, but he gets up and testifies. I already did a video if anybody wants to actually go back about. But this guy, same thing. I don't even think he'd been a cop for 3 years, and he's like so salty up there testifying about what he should get and what he didn't get. And I'm like, dude, you haven't even been a cop for 5 years. Go back and cry in the corner, Randy, yourself. I mean, I was just so offended. I'm like, is this what police work is turning into now? Some guy.
Well, what we've read it. Social media, where you enjoy your life now on social media, and I love it. And I think it's great. I love what you're doing. This is what helped create that monster. Instant gratification, instant everything. I make a video that's a minute long. They're like, nah, it's a little bit too long. People aren't gonna keep up with it. So what can you do for me now? Police department. Every time we put hiring up for Apple Creek, they'd be like, how much money you make? I want to be like, I get that. I tell every student, they get mad at me, but I teach at a lot of places. I tell them all, you're not worth $5 an hour your first year. You're a liability. You're in the way. I got to do everything. I got to look over all your stuff. You're really not worth $5 an hour. And I get a little pushback from that. But yeah, I think, yeah, go ahead.
I want to hop back real quick because this was actually a question that I should have written down. That a lot of people asked me, and I wanted to make certain that I covered it because there's a misconception. I've been defending you out there. There's a misconception about your pay. So I'm going to ask you, hang on, I'm going to write this number down.
Okay.
On something that somebody told me that they thought you made. Hang on, I'm looking for a pen here. Okay. I'm using my gas bill. All right, so I've written this number down.
Okay.
Of what this person thought that you were paid as the Apple Creek chief. And I want you to tell me how much did you make as the Apple Creek chief?
I'll tell you. Show me the digits. Show me the numbers.
Okay. This is what they said that you made.
Brother, I would have kissed the ass of council. I would have kissed the ring. I'd have kissed the ring. I'd have been like, yes, sir. Yes, whatever you need. No, sir. I was not making $100,000, brother. You want to hear the story?
Let's hear it.
All right. So I applied to the full-time police chief job in Apple Creek. Okay. And I got an interview. I was shocked. I didn't think I was getting an interview. I got an interview, and the mayor was, like I said, he's a good guy. He supported me. But he said in our interview, he said, you know, we have a full-time opening. We have a slot for 3 full-timers, and you would be filling one of those full-times. And I said, hey, my mom's 92 at the time or 91. I said, I would be interested in a part-time chief job. I have a lot going on. I really think I could run your department part-time and open a spot for another officer to be full-time. That way, helping out my team, having 3 full-time officers and me being a part-time officer. So it ended up being that I got hired as a part-time police chief, 24 to 32 hours a week. And then I would be able to hire 3 full-timers instead of 2, and which was good for me because I wanted to staff this place 24 hours a day. And my pay was $28.50, $28.46 an hour. Listen, Scott, look directly into that fucking camera. No vacation, no sick time, no Ohio Police and Fire, nothing. I said, I'll do it. And it wasn't like I'm throwing myself on the carpet of policing and I'm amazing, but I wanted a full-time slot for an officer to help grow their career. I've already, had a career, shit on my career, made mistakes, hit every pothole. I got hired as the part-time chief, and that's what it was, $28.50.
And you were only allowed to work 32 hours a week?
I couldn't go over that due to, as you know, if you remember back in EC, I was laid off twice. But it was 0 hours, not an official layoff. Remember when they sent paperwork out, green paper, baby? Remember that green paper?
Oh, yeah, the green paper, buddy. I still have some.
I know, right? So I don't know. I don't want to lose my train of thought. This bourbon helps me out. But that's what I came in as and said, hey, this is what I want to do. I can have another full-timer. And the mayor, again, like I said before, he's been very supportive, allowed me to do that. And then I got a 3% raise at the beginning of the year. I think when I left, It was 29 something an hour when I left there yesterday. What I was going for was 31 to 32 an hour. And let me tell you how we got to this. After rebuilding the department from 2 officers to 11, almost full-time coverage, donations for tasers and cameras and all these things. After a year, I went to the mayor. I said, hey, Mayor, I'm an Army guy. I go on merit. I've done a lot here. Oh, you've reshaped this department. You have done so much here. I said, excellent. I have a master's degree. I should make more than what I'm making. I would like to make $31, $32 an hour. I drive an hour every day. That is not your problem. I signed up for this. But, you know, I have a 2025 Jeep with 37,000 miles on it. Okay. And that's because I drive there 3, 4 times, sometimes 5 times a week. So that's how that happened. I did not make $100,000. God bless America. If I did, I'd still be there drinking the Kool-Aid and, you know, for $100,000.
Well, and I just thought that it was mind blowing to me. I was defending you on that. I'm like, no, and I actually looked up because at one point I think it was on the internet. I don't know why one of the wages, but I think it was an older wage from maybe 23 or 24 prior to you being there. But it was like nowhere near 100,000. I'm like, I can pretty safely assume right off the rip, without even me looking, that this guy is not making $100,000 as chief.
No, listen, man, I want to be fair. You know, I chose all of this. I chose to do part-time. I chose because I have the military, I have benefits, and I have money coming from the military VA, and I've got some options here to where I was able to make that decision. I pushed getting a raise. I did, and started in October. I said, Mayor, I've rebuilt this department. I've bled for this department. I would like a raise. And
sorry.
For whatever, go ahead.
No. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off, but so I mean, is it a full-time department? I mean, is it 24/7 or coverage or?
Nearly. Well, as of when I left, we were 85, 90% coverage. What I did was I allowed officers to go home at 3 a.m. So we had no coverage from 3 to 7. And then full-timer would take over 10-hour shifts. So we were 90, sometimes 90%, 85, 90%. And I have nothing against the county. They worked really well with us, man. That county is understaffed and overworked. They did really well. The Sheriff Ballinger did really well, worked well with me. But I wanted to pull our weight. You understand? I wanted us to pull our weight.
And so Wayne County was still dispatching for you guys at that point, or?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
The whole time.
Does the radio system still suck?
Yes, it does, unfortunately. I don't know how sucky it is. It's just we have too many people on one band. Like the radio's just constantly going off. So I'm screaming at the radio all the time, you know, like, God dang, shut up. Everybody's talking all the time. It's just they're overworked at that dispatch too. And another thing, my dispatch took care of my team. I sent them pizzas monthly, a couple times a month. I always wanted to take care of my dispatchers because they're forgotten a lot out there. That's another thing I did out there.
No, I remember, I guess I brought it up because I remember when I worked in Creston, West Salem, we were actually on a VHF band. And half the time, if you were out of your car, and even sometimes in your car, you could not even hit the repeater in your car. And you definitely, most of the time, could not hit the repeater out of your car.
No, I got to be honest with you. That's changed. They have good radios now. They have Marks radios. That's all taken care of.
Okay. Because, I mean, it's very rural. And we sort of skipped over it. And not that I actually love Amish people. Amish Dave, if you happen to be watching, which you probably should not be watching because that would mean that you're on a computer and using internet and electricity. So you're probably not watching. But Amish Dave, I love Amish Dave, but I love Amish people. I remember corresponding. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. Well, not really funny. Ironic. When I worked in West Salem, I referred to myself as the Amish processor because generally everybody in the Amish community, they didn't have phones. So if someone were to pass away, let's say in Missouri, one of their family members, the Amish in Missouri would go to the police department and notify and say, hey, you know, Uncle Gervie passed away, and they would have to call Wayne County. They would dispatch us. So it was like a horrible job for me because all I was doing was notifying the poor Amish
death
people.
Notifications.
Of their family passing. It was actually pretty horrible, but so you had a couple posts, didn't you? Did you have an accident or something? I can't remember.
What do you mean?
With one of the Amish.
No,
You
no,
guys,
I was that you brought that up, and I tried to keep our residents, man, supported me. I haven't said this yet. This is something I really wanted to make sure. These residents supported me so good out there, man. I mean, from major business owners to regular residents to they saw and felt that I gave a shit and that my team gave a shit. And we only hired people, and the guys that are there right now are all my picks, and I love them, and they're learning. A lot of them are newer, but they're all my picks. I taught some of them in the academy, and but the community, you know, we and this is good info for anybody watching. We did 130, 140 traffic stops a month. I'm big on traffic stops, you know that. But we gave 5, 7 tickets a month. That's it. Maybe 8% of people got a ticket. So hopefully I'm not giving away too much information, but I believe, and you've heard me say this before, our goal is to change behavior, not to give tickets to everybody. Now, tickets are an option. I like informal policing. How you doing today? Officer Miller, the reason I stopped you was for speeding. Any reason for that? Yeah, man, sorry, man, I'm late for work. Excellent. License, proof, insurance, registration. Go back and look. You ain't had a ticket in 8 years. Come back to the window. Hey, listen, I'm going to give you a warning today. Slow it down, Apple Creek. I got people on horses. I got people on skateboards and bikes. I need you to slow it down through here. And I think that is the type of policing that I really just think is the most, I just think it's the right way to police, is to find grace. You know, I ask for grace as a police officer, and I give a lot of grace as a police officer.
and I'm going to bring it up to East Cleveland style. You know, I mean, when I was there, my residents, my actual East Cleveland residents, I used to defend my East Cleveland residents. Actually, I mean, I still do defend my East Cleveland residents. They are really good people. People that live in
Oh,
East
yeah.
Cleveland. Everybody has a misconception of the actual residents of East Cleveland. The actual residents of East Cleveland are good people. They are just on hard times. Most of them are working 2, 3 jobs to support what they've got going. And it used to irritate me, especially when I started off on traffic. When I was on the traffic unit, you know, we were expected essentially the whole quota system. Although it wasn't a quota, you know, the quota system, there wasn't a quota. But hey,
Fifth goal.
if you didn't bring 20 in, you're going to be
Yeah.
facing some
It was a-
discipline.
It was a shift goal.
Yes.
Goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I'll tell you a favorite story, man. I know I don't know if we're running out of time or not. You let me know. One of my favorite stories, and I tell this to every academy student, man. The 2 gas stations across from Shaw, and then the road right behind Gas USA. I forgot what that road is. A busy road. We're always
Shaw or
what?
Wellesley? You're talking about Shaw, the main.
Shaw High School, directly across the street, 2 gas stations, and then the next street down Shaw on the right. I forgot the name of it. Son of a bitch.
Wellesley.
Anyways, a lady there. Yeah.
It's Wellesley, buddy. It was named after. I'm going to give you boring knowledge of East Cleveland. All right, hold your thought.
Do it.
Wellesley was named after the family Wellesley's last name, who owned a house that's actually still there, or was there. I don't know if it still is now. But when I left East Cleveland, it was still there, the Wellesley house, and they owned that entire block. It was like a
Okay.
farm. But go ahead.
So there's a corner house there, and there's hand-to-hand, you know, drug sales there. And I get called there. Now, and also I want to just clarify while I'm on here. I was never really a long-term, full-time patrol officer there, okay? It's part-time for many years. Got laid off-ish twice. My last year and a half, thank you for bringing me back when I called you and said, hey, I need a job. You put me in the bureau. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm this big road Nazi in East Cleveland. I never was, but I did a lot of work there at the times that I put in. This lady calls me and she's like, hey, I'm scared. There's people doing drug transactions in front of my house. I said, you know, I understand, ma'am. Do you have outdoor lights? And she's like, no, my son was shot and killed and my husband died. So it's just me. I said, hey, buy a dog. You know, she laughed. But she needed, you know, I was like, hey, listen, we're going to put some extra patrols. You know, most of policing is buttering people up a little bit. Like, hey, you know what, ma'am, I understand that. We're going to take care of it. We'll put extra patrols on your house every day. You'll see police officers come by more. And she was very happy with that. And as I was walking away, she goes, hey, officer, do you know anything about toilets? And anybody who knows me, I'm just going to tell you now, I am a cerebral guy. I can't fix shit. I have to call people. I'm not mechanical. I can't fix anything. She's like, hey, do you know anything about toilets? And I was like, yeah, let me take a look at it for you. Let me help you out, right? So I go upstairs to the second floor, and there are toilets there, and it's filled. And I'm like, all right, let me take a look. I take the lid off the toilet, and the little chain that's connected to the flusher, the chain,
Yes.
that was it. It was in the bottom of the tank. So I put it on the flusher, flushed the toilet. You would have thought that I did so much for this lady. She was so happy. She gave me a hug. Older black lady. This is the funny part. The next day I was off. And I get a call from somebody at the station. They're like, hey, did you work yesterday? Yeah. Did you answer a call on, I guess it was Wellesley, whatever that street was? And I was like, yeah. She goes, well, this lady just brought a whole bunch of food, chicken, collard greens, mashed potatoes, and said, give it to that bow-legged cop that fixed my toilet yesterday. And that story I tell all the time, man, because those are the intrinsic things we can do as police officers that nobody really sees,
And that is pretty awesome. But I mean, and somebody is correcting me. It might have been Plymouth you're talking about. The next road down Shaw is Wellesley, which is what I thought you were talking about. But you're
right where the prostitutes used to take dudes in the woods, right there, wherever that is.
Yeah. So somebody just corrected me and said, yeah, that's Plymouth. So that's probably because that Plymouth butted right up against those apartments complex. I can't remember what the Plymouth Place.
It was a dead end. I think Plymouth was a dead end. Yeah.
But Plymouth Place Apartments, I think, is what the name of the apartments were.
Yes.
That we were constantly were there. But yeah, that's interesting. All right, so somebody's asking a legit question, so I'm going to answer. I'm gonna air it here.
Sure.
So somebody's asking, were you drinking out of the flask? Are you permitted to drink in uniform? My grandfather was a cop in Cleveland.
So let's talk about police culture. So whoever's asking the question, think about the culture where you work, right? You have your own culture everywhere. And I've said this a lot of times. I never admitted to what was in my flask. That's none of anybody's business. But let me tell you what happens at police funerals, right, Scott? I know I've been through a lot. You've been through a lot more than me. You're going to get two things at a police funeral if you're a Cuyahoga County cop. You're going to get some bagpipes, and you're going to get a flask and some drinking at the zone car. You're going to get those are the things you're going to get. Some camaraderie, some hanging out, some of those things. And unfortunately, and I mean this, I just don't think Wayne County, that culture, saw or understood what my culture is, our culture is in Cuyahoga County. So I was off duty, no gun, wasn't driving. Here's my mistake, and I owned up to it. I was wearing the Apple Creek uniform as a chief of police. And I can understand people who would say, hey, come on, brother, that doesn't look good. And I can understand that. But I've told people for years, Scott, I teach so many cadets, some write-ups are worth it. Some write-ups in this business are absolutely worth it. I didn't expect this to be anything major, but it ended up being something major.
Well, I think the other thing, and again, I'll defend you a little bit. I mean, you did it at a point where really nobody in public was supposed to be. So I mean, you're out of public's eye. So I mean, yeah, you're in uniform. You probably shouldn't be doing it, but yeah, you're not in public view. So I mean, that's something I would give a consideration or factor in. And somebody is telling me that they think that you're talking about Miss Purdue. Does that name sound familiar to you, relative to the Plymouth?
I think that's her on the corner, and whoever that is talking. It's probably her. Black lady. She called us weekly.
We went back when I first started. There was actually an Italian lady, and I can't remember. She was down around 6th and Hayden, somewhere in there. And she had a house, and it was like a
where Ernie. Didn't Ernie live over there?
No. Well, I mean, Ernie did live over there, but yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. It was this old Italian lady, and nobody could understand her. And at that time, we had a guy, and I'll name him because I think he was a great officer. I think he's still in Cleveland. I don't know. It's Tony Tamaro, and he was Italian. Tony spoke Italian, so literally she would call, and we would have to hopefully get Tony on the phone to even understand what she was saying, which is sort of ironic. But again, one time there was an alarm call. That's where I was going with my story. there was an alarm call, and I went there and I met her daughter, and I'm like, hey, her house. People are, they're trying to break into her house almost on a daily basis, and I'm like, hey, normally I wouldn't say this, but I mean, are you? You able to get her out of here? I mean, she's old, she's by herself, and that was her thing. She's like, you're not gonna make me move out of this house because her husband built the house, and literally, I guess. And she's like, I'm not moving. My husband built it, and I'm like, hey, we're stretched thin, and this is happening on a daily occurrence, and I'm not complaining about coming over here, but I'm legitimately worried about her safety.
What's the end term? How do we fix this?
Yeah.
What's the end term?
Yeah. So, but the daughter was basically the same. Hey, she's not going to leave because this is, my father's house, and she's just going to deal with it. I guess I don't know. But all right. Somebody, I love Ernie, so I don't know if I want to say this, but somebody commented and said if she was pregnant, Ernie was there. All right, so I love Ernie.
Oh, my favorite. Ernie's my favorite. Miller,
the person.
Come over here. Let me talk to you, Miller.
The person that was asking about the flask said that they understand that their family was Irish or is Irish. So I just wanted to follow up with that. So where are you going in law enforcement now at this point? I mean, are you still going to stay in it? I think you're younger than me, right? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 35.
Oh my God, you were a baby.
No, I'm not, brother. I'm 54, baby. I don't know how old you are, man. What are you, 50?
51.
All right. Yeah, I'm 54. I'm just going back to my roots, man. I want to clarify this while we're on this podcast, man. I am a suitcase cop, man. A lot of guys, they unpack at one department and they're there for 100 years. My life didn't roll out that way in the police world, So I know a lot of people pick on me for, moving from department to department. And looking back, they got some validity to that, But, if you notice, I've survived some shit, brother. Put-in-Bay, I survived. Got out of there before all the grenades happened. East Cleveland, no offense. I love those guys. What a hard place to work. What a hard time they're going through. But I got out when it felt like it was going to be detrimental to my family, my house, my career. So I want to make sure that that's clear, that people know that I understand. There's a lot of people that don't like me love to use that. Like, he doesn't stay anywhere long. Yep, that's true. But, I've been at Vermilion now 3 years, part-time. And then, I was at Apple Creek for 1.5 years, and it just didn't work out. And, many, many years ago, I was a commission holder for about 10 years at Timberlake. So I've had my commission history I'm not 100% proud of. But you got to remember, when East Cleveland gave me 0 hours, I needed to go get another job. And I did that. But I'll tell you, man, East Cleveland's the poison and the medicine for a lot of people. That place makes you want to come back. You're drawn to the action. You're drawn to the chaos, So yeah, man, I'm not going to apologize, but just know that if that's what you're kicking me on, well, I get it. I own it.
Well, so
here's what I'm going to do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Teach. I'm going to teach more. The more people that'll have me teach. I get compliments all the time from a lot of students, man. I tell you, my favorite thing is, man, I open up my messenger or I open up my text message, and I got one today from a cat I just taught at Kent State. Stark, and he's in Macedonia now. I don't want to shoot him out, but he's like, hey, man, when you taught us to park your car, your police car, in front of somebody who's passed out, either on heroin or on alcohol, that so they don't hit the gas and take off when you approach them. I got a nice text today, like, hey, thanks for teaching us that, man. You taught us some real live stuff. So teaching is the roots.
But that's something, again, I have to point out. Everybody hates East Cleveland, obviously, right now. I understand that. But that's something I'm sure that you learned from East Cleveland, because we had that happen so many times where you come up to somebody that was on OD, they were overdosed, they're in an intersection.
Taco Bell drive-through, baby.
And then, boom, they just hit the gas or whatever and wreck into something. So it's something that you learned in East Cleveland. And most officers probably never deal with that or deal with it very minimally.
Right.
So I mean, it's all experience that you learned from East Cleveland. So,
But teaching, man, I love the teaching. That's my favorite aspect. I think I got a lot to give. I think I'm good at it. I'm bad at a lot of shit, but I think I'm pretty good at teaching. Now, I'll tell you, I saw something that Euclid did. Let me give them credit last week. They are teaching seniors, and I started this 3 years ago. I started a website called iknowmyrights.org. iknowmyrights.org. And I made a video. We had so many young black males in East Cleveland that wouldn't stop, didn't know how to act on a traffic stop, didn't know what was legal, didn't know what they should or shouldn't do. But I saw Euclid last week doing a class for seniors on how to deal with the police. So this has been in my mind, like, man, just get an old patrol car, go to high schools and 10th, 11th, and 12th graders in the hood, in the suburbs, in the rural areas, learn how to interact with the police, learn what they can and can't do, instead of us ripping somebody out of the car because they don't know MIMS, that Supreme Court law that we can ask people out of the car legally. So I really enjoy that. That's something that's in the back of my mind that I really would like to teach the youth, the younger kids in high schools, how to deal with police officers, how to interact on traffic stops.
So I'm gonna spin a little bit, all right, on you. As you know, my platform has probably grown more accountability. I'll call it that. All right.
Yeah.
And one thing that, and I guess the reason, and I never even honestly thought about this. Again, in my interview with Rob Rosen, who's a journalist, and he sort of like attacked his own profession in his book. And that's one of the questions I asked him. I'm like, well, why would you attack? How do you feel about basically attacking your own profession? And he said, because I love my profession. I want it to be better. And that's honestly what my platform is for. And I think, I get a lot of people that do recognize it and a lot of people that don't. They think I'm anti-cop. I'm not anti-cop. I know you're not. I want the profession to be great. I want it to be better. And I think, honestly, because of the issues in modern law enforcement, the candidates, the pay structure, nobody wants to be a police officer, that you're getting bottom of the barrel officers that would never be hired by any other means necessary. And you're getting those officers and they're going out and training now new officers. I mean, look at it. In East Cleveland, it was embarrassing. We had officers with less than 5 years on the job training other officers. And that was something that was just not heard of when I was coming up through East Cleveland. But that was what we were getting. We couldn't pay our officers anything, and most of the officers left, went to other agencies. And I'm glad that East Cleveland was able to give them that training, because I think it's invaluable what they're going to get for the rest of their careers being in East Cleveland, whatever anybody wants to think about East Cleveland. So my question to you is, how do we fix that? How do we, again, my platform is on accountability, because there is, and Doug, I know you're pro-cop, but since I've been out, the tips that come in, and at first I was very reluctant on a lot of these things. There's a lot of boneheaded cops out there, man. And they're making the job look horrible, in my opinion. So what do you say to that?
Well, I'd love to say that cops shouldn't be a cop till they're 25. Been through some life experience, been through some shit. I like my military guys, but I think cops need a little more life experience. And that's one of the biggest cruxes of the police world is you don't know a lot of stuff at 21 years old. Think back to when you were 21 years old, but look at all the stupid shit you did at 21. Now we're going to give you a badge and a gun and an $80,000 car. You got to go make critical decisions for people that have 10 times the life experience you have. And so I think that starts there, man. Hiring process. We're hiring whatever we want now. We're hiring what we can hire now. We're taking substandard people that in the past you'd go, I'm not going to hire this guy. We're now bringing people in. And then we don't have, like you just mentioned, we don't have the seasoned officer to go, hey, brother, that little badge on your chest doesn't protect you from everything. You got to know how to talk to people. You got to learn how to, you can't de-escalate anybody. You can only provide an environment where people can de-escalate themselves. So I guess the biggest thing is the hiring process. And it's hard because we need to fill slots. So we make exceptions now. So I think that's where our issue is.
So how do we get more money? Because honestly, that's the only way that I could see getting better quality candidates at this point is making
You know what I tell
government.
people? Man, happiness is a commodity. I know people in Beechwood, you know somebody in Beechwood that left us, who would rather dip their gun in chocolate and eat it before they go to work, but they're making 50 an hour. You know, we were making shit money. I started East Cleveland at $17 an hour. But so happiness is a commodity. So let me tell you about Apple Creek, because I know this is kind of what we're trying to talk about here. I can't pay you. I told my guys, I can't pay you, but I will make your schedule beautiful. I will send you to classes, and I will give you a good start in this career. You're going to learn some traffic. You'll learn some calls. I don't want you here more than a year. Stay here for a year and then move on. And so happiness is a commodity, and I try to tell that to everybody. And the chiefs out there and the leadership, that's what I want people to realize is keep your people happy. It isn't about you anymore. It's about them. When you get a leadership position, you know, your kids, they're sick, you got into an accident. Let's take care of people first in policing. And even though they're making 22 an hour at Apple Creek, 22 an hour, they show up to work, they're motivated, they pick up shifts because they have support from their leadership.
So you blame leadership then? Is that what you're?
I blame leadership. I blame old school guys who get those sergeant stripes who don't really understand leadership. Listen, Scott, there's good bosses, there's good leaders. Now, I've had good bosses. Hey, I need this day off, no problem. But they're not good leaders. I'm not following them into the depths of hell. But then there's great leaders. You're like, dude, I'll follow this. Dude, wherever you go, I'll go with you, man. You're a fantastic leader and a good boss. So we're lacking good leadership. That's our biggest problem in law enforcement. If you were to ask me right now, what's our biggest problem is now we have babies training babies. We have toddlers training babies.
All right. So I think we're getting over time. So we got to talk about the big thing. The big thing. All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Chief Miller after hours.
Well, you know, I was going to do an OnlyFans, but you know, I think I'm a little too good looking. A little too good looking for the OnlyFans. I wouldn't be able to keep up with all the money I'd be making. So now I want to do a podcast. You know, honestly, you're one of my inspirations for doing the podcast. You know, I had made a joke that this is my 5th midlife crisis. It's probably my 10th. But you know, I want to be able to. I think I got a lot to give, a lot to say, a lot of motivation. I think a lot of love for police officers. So that's what I want to do. I want to do a podcast, and I want to maybe help some people out and just shine some light on where we're at in the police world today.
And it's one thing, you know. I guess one of the things. And I don't know, I'm sort of going off in the weeds here at this point, but I mean, mental health for officers. That's something I want you to pick up on, right? Especially training. That's the one thing that I feel that Ohio really falls behind. Something that I tried to advocate as chief was getting them training and help for guys in the industry. I mean, it's still very taboo. It's still very, hey, I don't want to go to a head shrunk. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have PTSD, myself included. I just found out, by the way.
Ego.
Yes, it's a big ego thing to go see the head shrink. So it's very important, I think, for officers.
Scott, any job that the poison is the medicine is going to lead to problems. You take it out on yourself. You see things. I remember me and a certain officer, we had a kid fall out of the ninth floor of the Crystal Towers or whatever. This is a long time ago. You know, it's mental health is super important. I've been battling mine forever. You know, I don't sleep. I fight to sleep. When people go, hey, I'm going to bed, and they're excited, when I'm time for bed, I'm like, fuck, how long am I going to stare at this ceiling? You know, how long am I going to scroll through this phone? But officers do need help with mental health. And let me give you some props. We had an officer in a shooting, and you called me a couple times, I think, 2 officers. You said, hey, Doug, you're the right guy to make sure that this guy is okay. I don't want to say any names, but you said get him a gym membership. You paid for it out of your pocket, if I remember correctly. You said, Doug, take care of this guy. Let's not turn our back on him. And I think you did it for me a couple times. You had me do that. And I appreciated that because you cared. You wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. I don't think every department feels that way. They don't know how to take care of their officers, or they back off because Maybe they're fighting their own demons. But officer health is wellness is, and I say this to everybody, every cop listening, every cop that hears this, sometimes you need a mental health day. Okay. I'm not saying fuck your shift and call in sick once a week because, you've got mental health issues. What I'm saying is a couple times a year, when you wake up and you're like, man, I just don't want to go in today. Use that sick day. Use that personal day. Stay in bed. Order a pizza. Do what you want to do. Play video games. Whatever you do, take that mental health day to help decompress yourself. And when you need some help, you got to talk your way through it. You've got to talk to somebody. And we all fight this. And it's better now than it was when we first started. If you were to say, hey, that call fucked me up. You know how many times I sat in my cruiser pulling my vest out, trying to get some air in here because I'm dizzy and what I just saw was terrible. I'm trying to get some air in here. I don't want nobody to see me fucked up and crying or whatever it is. And now I've embraced it so much now that in this job, if you don't cry with people, if you don't laugh with people, if you don't scream with people, I don't think you're doing it right. So the poison is the medicine in this job, man. And it's terrible, but that's what we do. Then you go home, Scott, you go home, you turn your TV on and there's somebody kicking the shit out of police somewhere in another state that you got nothing to do with, that now you got to deal with it. So it's just thankless, and you got to find a way to process and go through. I haven't figured it out, but I know I can talk about it and I can be vulnerable more now than I was before.
I think that he basically, one of the things that I recall in East Cleveland, we had it was a standoff essentially, and it was, the road's evading me at this point. It was the road where Wendy's is on. Some of you are from East Cleveland, and
right by the library.
Yes. So I think everybody on the shift discharged their firearm, and East Cleveland had this policy: hey, if you discharge your firearm, I think it was 3 days off. I think you were supposed to take 3 days off. You were supposed to get like mentally health cleared, and the chief of police at the time, who's no longer with us, that she gives some probably reasoning to some who I'm talking about. They were like, hey, "Fuck you, get back on the road." There was actually literally no downtime. We were just involved in a fatal shooting, and there was zero downtime. Fuck you, get back on the road is what we were told. And so,
but is it wrong? It's kind of wrong. It's kind of right. It's kind of suck it up. This is our job. Let's go to work. But I agree with you. This is the most unique business ever. It's the front row seat to the problems of the world, and you take them home with you, man. Every time I see something crazy in the police world, I had a truck with like 3 kids in the back and a dog that crashed, and like one kid was dead. The dog was broken hips and screaming and crying. The driver was dead. Then you go home and you're like, listen up. You'll never ride in the back of a fucking truck as long as you live. So these things, you go home and you implant these crazy shits into your family. It's absolutely, I just wish the civilian world understood that cops take a lot of nonsense and bullshit home. Whenever I hear a cop losing his shit, the George Floyd case and other cases, things don't look good on TV, and even some people we know and love. But what was that officer's call yesterday? What was that officer's call? Was it a DOA? Was it a shooting? Was it a kid that was ran over? And now I'm coming to your fucking bullshit call, and I'm trying to keep myself together, and I just came from something terrible. So my question is, whenever I see people shitting on cops for how they handled a situation, even though they may have done it wrong, my question is, what did this officer just go through recently? What about our personal life? Nobody talks about us. We divorce, we fucking drink, we try to fix ourselves at home, and we don't have a lot of tools. And I think that's what you were getting at. Departments need to offer tools for your officers.
You should have saw the look on the mayor's face. I think we had 3 officer-involved shootings while I was chief, maybe 4, and fatal officer. We had more than 3, I think. But you should have saw the expression on the mayor's face when I said, "Hey, these guys really need to go to a psychologist. We really need to make certain that they are road cleared and that they're doing okay. They're you know, and I think that's when exactly what you were talking about. That's when I was like, hey, get this guy into a gym because you know it was this huge magwire of deadlock time that the mayor kept saying, hey, this is my budget. I want to spend this. It's in my budget. I have the money. I want to get these guys into counseling. And we just kept going back and forth. And I think that's when I reached out to you. And I'm like, hey, get these guys into a gym. You know,
You did.
even if, you know, get them working out, trying to get over this. But yeah, I think it's critical. And I think it's something that's completely overlooked in law enforcement is the mental health aspect. But so we sort of went off. The podcast where I talked about it and before I think you said that you were relying on me. Where's it going to be? I mean, you're going to be on YouTube. You're going to be on X. You're going to be on TikTok.
So Scott, I'm going to call you after this podcast in the next, today and in the next few weeks. I need you to help me get it started. I have a logo. That's it. I have a logo. I have ideas. I got, AI helped me figure out my first 10 episodes. I got a lot. I'm excited. I don't know what to buy. I don't know what to do. And that's honesty. I want to do a podcast. I want to do a good one. I want people to tune in. If I gain 2 followers a week, I don't care. As long as we can help somebody out. Somebody's sitting in their cruiser. My goal is for you to be in your cruiser, throw on my After Hours podcast, and we just speak real about what we're doing, about what's going on in our careers. How do we handle it? I think that's what I want to do. I want to be cop focused. Pro cop. I'm pro cop, but I will, we got to call cops out when we need to, man. That's part of this job. We got to. So that's it. I want to make a positive podcast that talks about the things we need to talk about that we can't. You sit in your cruiser. Here's what we do, Scott. And there's some people watching right now that know this at my department. Like, is your camera off? Yes. Check. How's your radio? Turn it off. Check. All right. I got something to tell you. We're worried constantly about saying anything, who's listening. We live a paranoid life as a police officer, and yet we deal with the most critical situations out here for people. It's just we have no grace, and I know I said it earlier, and I'm repeating myself, but we need to find some grace for police officers because we've been getting kicked for many years now, and we need to give us a little grace. So that's what I want to do. I want to give us grace. I want a forum where you can speak your mind. You could be anonymous. You could be whatever. And I just think we can help people. We can help officers. We can help us sitting in your cruiser at 2 a.m. and that's what I want to do.
All right. Well, I appreciate and you're getting. I'm assuming you'll at some point. There's all sorts of comments coming in. And it's hard for me to.
Let's answer them. Who gives a shit, dude? Let's answer them. What's the comment? Let's go.
Well, no. I mean, there's you've got comments. You did an amazing job in the community. That was one of the comments. And somebody was answering the Holyoke. I was talking about the road was Holyoke. I forgot what the name of the road. You also do have a hater out there. I don't know if you want...
I don't care. I'm sure I do. I know I do.
Let me go back because he or she's been firing... do you want to talk about... here. The little village let him walk because he wasn't worth the extra dollar. They needed more than some... asshole in a cowboy hat handing out popsicles. So
I pray for you, buddy. I pray for you, buddy. I cared about your kids. I threw a hat on. It was a Halloween day, I think it was. I don't even remember. I threw a cowboy hat on. I thought it was kind of cool. And I was handing out popsicles to kids, man. If you can find something wrong with that, hey, man, more power to you. I hope God looks out for you.
And he's actually, whoever it is I don't even know if he realizes he's getting attacked unmercifully from other people from his comments. So
it's all right, man. Listen,
far more supporters than haters. But I kept seeing him light up, and I just didn't want to make it seem like we were trying to avoid him on purpose. But
yeah, let's not avoid anybody. I want to be transparent. I love that community. I love it.
And somebody just commented that dude sits down to piss. So they were talking about him.
Hey, don't we all sometimes? I mean, come on now.
I find it easier. I think, listen, I'm not sexist. I find it very, females got it made. You get to sit down.
At 54, both can come at any time. You know what I mean? So
right. All right. Well, is there? We gotta. I guess
Ask them, hey, Scott, do me a favor. Ask them, do we not hit anything? I'm asking everybody out there, who I don't even know how many people are on, but did we miss anything? Do you got a question before we close it out? Because I don't want it to be a letdown that somebody didn't get something they wanted.
All right, so we'll open it up. We'll wait because there is a delay, I think, for some reason on some of these comments. Because like some of the things we were talking about, like 30 seconds down the road, I'll get a comment about it. But Alan Ferguson, because normally I don't, and the only reason I'm calling this person out is because they specifically stated they wanted me to say their name. That's the only reason I'm saying it. So don't be afraid to ask questions. The only reason I'm saying his name is because he asked me to say his name, and he says, tell him my name, and I said hi, and he's actually been unmercifully attacking the other person that's been
well,
yelling
I hate to say it, but that's my first cousin. That's my favorite cousin. We've been through hell together through our lives. We've known each other our whole lives. I love Alan Ferguson. He's probably one of the best people I've ever known. He's an amazing dude.
All right. So if anybody has any questions, like I said, we'll stay on here for, I don't know, 15, 30 more seconds just to make sure that there's any questions that I haven't picked up on. Let me scroll back because.
Yeah, go back. Let's answer everybody's questions. I want this to be the end all, so I don't have to talk about it anymore. Also, if you're a mayor out there watching this and you need a chief of police, I have a couple calls that have came in, but I'm also, I don't know if I'm done. I think I have a lot more to give. And if you're looking for a community-orientated officer to run your department, I'm open for calls. But until then, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to teach. Yeah, that's it.
I got to ask this person, and I'm not going to call them out. I'm assuming their comments are actually published, but what do you have against the cowboy hat? I don't quite understand. He's made several comments. He wants you to put a cowboy hat and
it ain't me. It ain't the cowboy hat, brother. It's my personality. It's me willing to throw it on. It's me. I'm too flashy for some people. I'm too upfront. My Facebook, I put my face on it too much. And I agree. At first, I was really motivated. Kill me if you want. Kick me if you want. When I first got the chief job, I was excited. I was motivated. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And I went in and learned. And the truth is, to the cowboy hat hater, whoever it is, I know that I did a little too much of me. But I know that. And but this is a learning curve. I didn't know. It was my first time doing it. I was doing what I thought was right.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry for the cowboy hat.
Don't ever wear a cowboy hat again. But I have to say, I totally supported. I think I actually told you. Maybe it's partially my fault. I think more police departments should be more interactive with community on social media. And so maybe that was actually my advice. Maybe you took bad advice. But somebody's, and I don't understand the question. I have a question. What brand of Biddit is preferred by chiefs? I don't. I'm sorry. I just saw the cowboy hat. I was reading. What is a Biddit? Is that a misspell? I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Biddit? I have a question. What brand of Biddit is preferred by chiefs? I don't know. Can you correct that for me?
Is that a cigar? Is that a hat? I look like a pilgrim in this one.
Hey, haters showing some love for Doug. Bahaha. Don't be sorry. Make it part of the uniform. I think he's talking about the hat. Somebody asks, or somebody said, being so appreciative, how do you keep going and doing what you do every day, protecting and serving the public?
It's a calling. It's a calling, man. And every good cop out there is a calling. If it's a career, terrible. You're not making money. You're never going to be rich. You know how you make it in this business? You know when you've made it as a cop is when you have a hot tub. And I don't have one yet.
Okay, I'll ask the question. They were talking about the thing in your bathroom that washes your arse.
The bidet.
Oh, bidet. I was mispronouncing it. My apologies. So,
what about it?
Well, they want to know what your favorite brand is.
Oh, that's another hater. God bless you, my friend.
I don't think actually is a hater, but
I've never had anything. I've never had any water squirting on my arse that I know of, that I can remember.
Somebody wants to know Can we all come over for breakfast?
As long as you don't try to fucking ruin my career and take pictures of me drinking.
I have everything is a scam shit show. Sick and tired of all of this BS. I'm not sure if that what that exactly means. I don't know if that's geared towards us or just in general. But I think, and somebody's talking about Thailand restroom. I don't know what that means, but does that mean something to you?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
Never been to Thailand.
Maybe they were talking about the bidet that came in between the bidet question. I don't know if that had something to do with the bidet thing or not, but
so let me finish
right.
with this. I know we're on our way out. Let me finish with this. You know, I had certain members of council, and I there's a pastor there of the church named Pastor Keith. He's a great guy. Fair Lawn Mennonite Church. Okay, he's a good man. He's been working with me. We've worked together for a year and a half, and he's a good man. But I just want to say that, you know, unions were created. I'm not a fan of 100% of things unions do, but unions were created because of one or two people on a council somewhere that can disrupt a complete police department or disrupt a fire department or disrupt, as you've been doing your shows on. Certain people in council can disrupt so many things when you don't have legal protection. And that's kind of what happened to me here. I had no legal protection. One person was able to contaminate their own personal agenda, and that's what ended up making me leave. I left on my own. And it was because I didn't feel appreciated. And I hope the next guy, I hope I paved a path that the council now realizes that, hey, man, not everybody's perfect. You're not going to agree with everything, but damn, this guy tried his best. He did a pretty good job. So I'm hoping that that's what happens for the next chief and for the Apple Creek Police Department. And I'm here for them. Anybody there that's ever worked for me, anybody I've ever taught, my number is always available to you. So get a hold of me anytime.
I wanted to give my comment on unions. One, I never liked unions, but for law enforcement, well, first off, I want to say the FOP, in my opinion, sucks for everybody. Anybody that's in the FOP should be worried. FOP did nothing for the East Cleveland officers whatsoever. Now that that's out of the way, the union, you have to have it in law enforcement. You have to, because you have officers that have to do their job, and part of their job may be administering or enforcing laws against people that have authority over you. Like you said, the mayor, the council members. You've got a council member that's driving down the street drunk, hits a little kid, right? And what are you going to do? You're going to second guess enforcing that law because they have direct control over you. They have direct control over your job, your livelihood. And because of that, unions are essential because they have to protect the officer for doing their, in support of doing their job. They have to back the officer. Everything else about the union, I hate. The union supports the weakest person because the slug, the rod, the retired on-duty officer that does absolutely nothing is going to get just as much pay as you going out there busting your ass. And that's why I hate the police unions in that aspect, because the
you know worthless... what? Perspective. Your perspective is right on. I understand that. I've seen that too. But I also now seen the other side. This is the learning process of being a chief and in law enforcement now. So I found a positive for the unions. I've never been a big fan of the unions, but now I found a positive because now in a small place like Apple Creek, you're able to play the game, frustrate your chief. You're able to side skirt what your public really wants and put the pressure on somebody like me to say, you know what are you going to do to me next? Am I going to lose my career here listening to you guys that you're not supporting me? Are you going to try to find something wrong with me? Ruin my career. So when you smell smoke, there's fire. And I smelled some smoke. I wanted to stay. I love that community. I love my officers. And I would love another opportunity again to be a chief of police. I did nothing wrong. I did a lot of great things. And I'm hoping that happens again. But if it doesn't, I am so excited that I got that opportunity. I love that I was even considered for that job. And so I'm going away from this not with a negative attitude. I'm very excited. I'm very happy. I feel proud of what I did. And if not everybody saw it, well, that's prerogative. Not everybody saw it. That's on them.
All right, I'm going to leave with one last comment. Somebody left. Was wonderful getting to know you and work with you, Chief. Please take care. Can't wait for the podcast. So where can we? You're under Blue Collar Cop right now. I'm trying to give somebody or somewhere to go reference. I mean, I'll try to post it also. But when the podcast comes out, where do you want people to go? You want on TikTok the Blue Collar Cop? Is that?
So a friend of mine, Scott Gardner, does this shit like full time. So I'm going to get a hold of him, and then we're going to decide what is the best option for me and how do I launch and do an amazing job like you have, Scott. You've shined some light. You've shaken the truth out. You've done those things, and I like that. I'm on an obviously different path than you. I'm pro-cop. I want to do training, and I know you're not anti-cop. I know you love cops, Scott. I've known you now 15, 18 years. So I want people who's listening to Scott that he's looks like he's looking at the underbelly a lot, but I know you love cops, man. I know you do.
I do.
You've always been there for me.
There's a ton of tips that come in on a daily basis where I respond to people. I said, hey, no offense, I've looked at this, and it's just a cop doing his job. So, I mean, it's not that. It's just I chose a different path only because I'm going to steal Rob Rosen. I do it because I love the profession. I want it to be better, and I think right now it's not doing well, and I hope it does. And I hope what I do as far as accountability, pointing out those, there's another guy, Dominic. What's that guy's name on Facebook? Dominic Izzo. If nobody, yeah, if anybody's unfamiliar with him, I don't know the guy whatsoever. But Dominic Izzo is another great person to listen to. Former cop out of Illinois, and he and I think I found him much later after I started off. I mean, he's almost the same brand. The same thing. Cops. He attacks female officers for whatever reason a lot more than I probably would, but it's this thing that he's been going on for a while. But
I got two female cops. I got an auxiliary and a female officer, and I tell you what, there's a lot of baggage that could come with female officers. Let's not kick them. If they have that same drive as me and you, hey, I want to be a police officer. I want to help people. Why do we? Now I haven't always thought this way, but why do we kick them preemptively before they even get a shot at working the road? Not King. God, what was that black female that worked in East Cleveland, man, when I first started there in 2012, man? I forgot her name, man, but she was one of the best.
Doris Moore?
Well, yeah, Sergeant Moore was good, but she was a different one. The other one, she was really cool. I forgot her name.
Okay. Glaspie. I mean, King was there, but Anissa Booker?
No. You'll know her. She's loud. She's awesome. But anyways, I'm trying to think of a name, but we're ruining the podcast. I don't want to do that. But I think there's a great place for females in this profession. And I'm sorry to hear that somebody kicked that. But to be completely transparent, I wasn't always a big fan of female police officers until I learned to work with them. And there's just as bad as male police officers as there are females. So for us to make that comparison, it's not good. So I want to give kudos to, my officers my female officers I had two that worked for me that worked hard and took the job seriously. And
somebody asked if Nicole is who you're talking about. And then then somebody else asked if you were talking about Wilbert Nevels.
I love Wilbert Nevels, man. Nevs, he's over at Cleveland Clinic now. We love me some Nevs. But I forgot her name, and it's gonna come as soon as you cancel. As soon as you end this, I'm gonna think of it. But yeah, I know we're off on a tangent, but yeah, we need to support anybody who wants to come in this business. The days of kicking people that we don't think belong in our business is over. We need to support everybody who comes in.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I thank everybody for hanging out, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, Scott, thanks for having me, and everybody who tuned in, thank you. Anybody needs anything, I'm always here, even the negative guys. Fuck it. If you want a picture, I'll sign a picture of me in that cowboy hat if you want. Just send your info to Scott. I'll fucking send it to you. I love you, Scott. I appreciate what you do. And everybody who's watching, thanks for tuning in to me. And I hope you watch my podcast when I get it together.
Take care.
Cheers.